And now, Lifestyles Unlimited presents the Real Estate Investor Radio Show. Over the next hour, we unfold your map to financial freedom. You'll learn how to retire through investing in single-family and multifamily real estate. You'll learn how to create cash flow and build wealth so you can have the time and money to live the lifestyle you want.
Hello and welcome to the show. This is Andy Webb with Lifestyles Unlimited, and as always, we're working on your financial freedom. And I thank you for tuning in today. If you're new to the show, if you're new to the program, understand we talk about real estate investing on this radio show, plus the Lifestyles Unlimited Real Estate Investor Radio Show hosted by Mike Harrison and Al Gordon. And if you tune into the sister program hosted by Del Walmsley, you'll get more of that as well, a little bit more mindset. But we focus on real estate investing, and we talk about investing in single-family houses as well as investing in apartments. And real estate investing, it's a great way to do a couple of things. It's a great way to create extra cash flow in your life. For example, you can buy just a couple of single-family rental houses and add $1,000 or more, right, $1,000 or more in passive income to your income stream every month. And you can build wealth as well. Right now, in fact, the way the market's looking, you can find houses that essentially double your money when you buy them. Let's say you have $20,000 into the house. It immediately doubles based on the way you buy. You buy right? We teach you how to do that. And then you immediately have $40,000 in equity. Double that money. It's very, very easy to do, and it's pretty darn amazing. Create cash flow and wealth. Now, does that sound like something you would like to do? Because that's what we teach you. That's what we do at Lifestyles Unlimited. We're an education and mentoring group, and we have a lot of ways for you to learn at Lifestyles Unlimited. We have online seminars, for example. I've attended a few of those recently myself. Classwork. This is really an entire curriculum, for example, devoted just to investing in single-family rental houses. So if that's what you want to do, we've got a full coursework, a course load for you, as well as several other curricula for the different types of apartment investing that you can do. And we do, on top of that, we do live lunch and learns. I've attended a few of those recently, for example, on using cost segregation for single-family houses. I'm not going to go into that. We do talk about that and other topics, tax topics this time of year, for example. Other in-person events. One of my favorites being the single-family road trip and the multi-family road trips where we actually go out and walk these investment properties and learn how the investor is turning around that property to make a profit, to make that cash flow we just talked about, and to create that wealth. But hands down, I've been a member at Lifestyles Unlimited for 12 years, investing in single-family for as long as that, and doing apartments more recently as well. Hands down, my favorite event has got to be our monthly case study. And this is where investors like myself and others get together, and somebody will be picked from the crowd that's done a recent investment in houses or perhaps in apartments, or both actually, and they're going to talk about that investment. And it's a great place to go because everybody learns. These are real people presenting real results, sharing their success, the numbers. And it's a great place for you, whether you're new or experienced, to go and see these numbers, learn, continue to educate yourself and ask questions. And I bring this up on today's show because I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled because my wife and I have been invited to come up on the stage for this coming case study here in Dallas-Fort Worth. We'll be one of the single-family presenters. There's normally two single-family presenters and then an apartment presenter. And man, the last time we presented at Case Study was a decade ago. It's hard to believe how much time has elapsed. But we're going to get up there, and we're going to talk about one of our houses. So you know all kinds of information. You'll see the numbers, cash flow, right? Equity capture, like we just building that wealth. We'll talk about the renovations, how we found the house. You can see before and after pictures, so you can get an idea of what we're doing as members. Just all the details. And since we're a little bit more experienced, we'll get into our bigger portfolio as well. So, hey, please come on out and join me if you can. If you're in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, that's where I sit. That's the case study I'll be presenting at. Or attend online. It's live online. If you want to learn more about that, go to the following website. It's LU, which naturally stands for Lifestyles Unlimited, LUKEY.com. lucasestudy.com. Again, lucasestudy.com. We don't just do these in Dallas-Fort Worth. We do these in Houston. You'll see dates for Houston, San Antonio, as well as a few other markets. So good place to come out. And that case study here in Dallas, that's going to be in Las Colinas in our offices Thursday, February 15th. So that's about, week and a half or so out. Great place to go and great place to network. So one of the reasons I love coming out to this is I invariably talk to somebody I haven't met before, somebody that's in the space that I'm in, maybe a couple of steps ahead of me, from whom I can learn. And speaking of network, in fact, the house that we're going to be presenting, I'm kind of tipping my hand a little bit. This came purely from our network, which is why it's very, very important to get out to these kind of events and meet people. But I know, I'm with you on this. I'm a bit of a shy guy. I get on the radio and talk, but in these sort of environments, I personally understand that networking can be difficult. Getting out into that crowd and just talking to people can be hard. So if you're like me, it happens. My heart palpitates just a little bit. I get sweaty armpits. It happens every time. So even 12 years later, you're newer to this than I am. So maybe you don't know the vocabulary. You've never bought a single family house. You've not invested in apartments, ARV and PITI and all these things, this jargon that we sling around. You don't know these words. You don't know what to say. You don't want to ask a stupid question. Let's start there first and foremost. There is no stupid question. I had to train myself to ask questions that sometimes I thought, was it probably a dumb question, but I need to know, right? There is no stupid question. I'll tell you that just sidling on up to a group that's talking and just saying, hey, pardon me, I just kind of want to eavesdrop. I'm new, right? And then listening. And if you do that enough times, if you listen to enough conversations, you will pick up that vocabulary, and you'll start to come up with ideas and questions and things that you can add to the conversation. And again, it's perfectly okay to do that. That's my tactic. I just walk up to the group. I don't know these people. Hey, I'm new. I just want to listen. Right? Don't mind me. I'm just going to eavesdrop a little bit. And I'll tell you, the people, can't speak to broader groups out there across the nation. There are a lot of real estate groups that get together, but I can tell you that at the case study, we've all been through this. And the people at case study are warm and welcoming. They're going to pull you in. I mean, we've all been in your shoes in the past. There are more of us that are introverts than not. And if it helps you, bring a friend. I see people do this all the time. Come in tandem. Maybe that's your spouse. And just mentally gear up to have some fun, because it can be a lot of fun. Now, some networking tips, things that I use personally. I want to outline a couple of these for you in the balance of this segment here. And I'll tell you, if you are a member at Lifestyles Unlimited already and you're focused on apartments, there's a really good course. I mentioned we have a lot of coursework out there. This is a recorded course taught by Terry Gobler and John Pry, he's a super passive investor in apartments. But they teach a class called Effective Networking for Passive Investors. Again, this is directed specifically at apartment investors. So if you're single family, maybe it's a little bit different. But to those that are members, go check that out. And no matter who you are, be prepared when you show up at one of these events. I think that's half the battle. Have an elevator pitch ready. Whether you've never bought a house or you bought 10 or 20, it doesn't matter. Just have a quick one-liner about who you are. Even if it's as simple as, hey, I'm new to this space. I'm here to learn and absorb everything I can so I can become a rock star single-family investor like you, or whatever. Apartment investor, doesn't matter. Just quickly be able to tell people who you are, without going on for minutes and half of the time there. Very succinct. And then come also prepared with questions and with goals for the session. And I find if I'm prepared with these things, it makes it a lot easier. And in fact, nowadays, since we have a young child, I tend to be the one that goes out to these. My wife stays home, and I always ask her before I go out, I say, right now, think about what's going on in our business, right? We have a lot of single family houses. We're in apartments. What do we need to learn? Who do I need to meet? What is on your mind? What is on my mind? What problem do we maybe have that we need to solve? What are we working on that we need help with? So is there a contractor, a vendor that I need to meet? A plumber, electrician, somebody that has those contacts? Are we looking to invest passively in another apartment investment? Who do I need to talk to? That super passive John Pry or some of the other folks. Perhaps we're thinking about investing in another part of town. Who can I track down that invests there? Or maybe I'm looking for financing. All right, there are any number of things, but by thinking about these and having maybe a list of 3, 4, 5 that I really want to get solved by the end of the night, it really helps me strike up conversation. But remember as well, it's not just about you, right? It's not just about you. If you can, come prepared with stories to share. If you've already had some experience, whether it's one house or 20, right? Come prepared with some stories to share. Maybe some of those great vendors that you have worked with, because people always want that information. We're always talking about that. Now, that's being prepared. Sometimes the more, let's say, banal things like dress, attire, what do I wear? Case study's pretty informal. It's pretty informal. I personally, I've gotten out of this habit. I need to get back in this habit. I like to always wear the same shirt. I have this shirt that says "We Buy Houses" on the back. And if you wear that same style or that same sort of outfit to every event, guess what? People are going to start to recognize you. They'll come up to you and they'll start the conversation so you don't have to. Helps you stand out. For the longest time I had long hair. That seems to be cycling back in at the moment, maybe because I've retired from corporate America and it doesn't matter anymore. People recognize that. Maybe it's something else. It's a kind of branding. And it's fascinating to me. I've talked to investors at Lifestyles Unlimited that are very good at this. There's a gentleman that is an apartment investor that is known as the Milkman. Right? He's got a milk box emblem on his shirt. He always introduces himself that way, and now people know him that way. It's very easy to remember. It's a form of branding. You can do that too, whether you have 0 houses, 0 apartment investments. It doesn't matter. You can start to work on that. And I mentioned just a moment ago, bring a friend or bring a spouse. If you're a couple, and I know if you have kids, this gets really hard. I'm in that space right now. If you can both come out, that's ideal, especially if you have that skeptical partner. Bring them along. Again, plan ahead, be prepared. And if you've been out here before, think about who you might want to introduce that skeptic to be sure that they're hearing those success stories. Now, they're going to go into the case study room where my wife and I will be presenting. Another single family investor will present, an apartment investor. They're going to hear success stories there. But those are people up on stage, and that's sometimes a little bit even more removed than when you're having that intimate conversation in the foyer before you even get to that big seminar room. So who do you want them to talk to help bring them around to your case? Again, be prepared. That's all I'm saying. Go into this ready to talk. One-liner, elevator pitch, goals for the evening. Who do I want to meet? What do I want to learn? Will make your life a lot easier. We've got a special guest when we come back.
Got questions? Call Lifestyles Unlimited at 855-497-4335. The Real Estate Investor Radio Show continues next.
You allowed 15,000 members into your sandbox.
Thank you.
And so that speaks volumes. So for that, and as a family.
So you know why I did that? Everybody always asks, why did you do this? Because I was an ugly kid. My parents used to have to put a pork chop around my neck so the dog would play with me. And so I always wanted to have friends, and I figured if I could make people rich, they might be my friend.
Join Dell and his successful friends. Start with the free online workshop. Register at lifestylesunlimitedworkshop.com.
Creating the lifestyle you've always wanted. You're hearing Lifestyles Unlimited's Real Estate Investor Radio Show.
Welcome back to the show. This is your host, Andy Webb, and I thank you again for tuning in. We're focusing primarily today on case study. In the prior segment, we talked about some networking tips, things you can do to help yourself have success at any networking event when it comes to going out and learning about real estate. Don't be shy, right? Be prepared. And to help you be prepared, I've brought someone onto the show, special guest. His name is Brandon. He's one of our 3 single-family mentors here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. He's been doing this, I think, coming up on 2 years, Brandon. And he's going to be up there on the stage with me. So I thought, come on, let's bring Brandon on. Let's get the folks excited. I want to see a lot of new faces out there for our February case study. So Brandon, welcome to the show. And now, a lot of folks out there, they probably don't know who you are. Why don't you tell us just briefly about your investing background and what brought you to Lifestyles Unlimited?
So I grew up second-generation real estate investor. My parents invested in some single-family properties growing up, and so to earn money, I would go do make-readies. That's getting the property ready when someone moves out for the next tenant, and then doing a lot of lawn mowing my wife, Melissa, and I, we've started doing our own real estate investing back in 2006 prior to Lifestyles. We were buying single-family homes, and then we ended up moving to Texas, and we met Chris and Marty Wyatt. They started buying some homes very quickly. They saw what we did, and they started doing it, and it made us really curious about, how they were doing that so quickly. And they said, well, we joined this group called Lifestyles. You're welcome to come check it out. We saw it, and we realized that, man, that is a great way to do things, and we could really amp up our real estate investment through that. So that's what got us here.
What is case study? How would you describe that to somebody who's never heard of this?
Case study, it's kind of like what it sounds. Basically, we have a get-together once a month, and we have people that are not members of Lifestyles as well as members of Lifestyles come. And it's an opportunity for members, just like you're going to do, Andy, present one of their more recent properties, whether it's single-family or multifamily, which is apartments, and show it off to the group and share basically everything about the process, the costs involved, the returns, and then open it up for questions to the audience. So they just open their books and share everything, and it's a great way to kind of get a picture of what successful real estate investing looks like.
Have you been to any other place where people share their books like we do?
No, nowhere. Usually, if you go, I've been to a few things, different companies, and they'll give you a little glimpse here and there, but never do they open it all up and let you ask whatever questions you want. So that is really one of the things that really excited us initially, just like all the information that was readily available and people just willing to share.
Who benefits from attending case study? How? What other things are they going to learn?
They're going to get to see who we are, get to know us, and see how we're able to be successful in real estate. And then even the current members love to come just because they get to catch up with their now newer friends that they've met through the process, through Lifestyles.
So case study, great event. You're a single family mentor. We've got two more up here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And if I'm thinking about how I've engaged my mentors over the years, when I get stuck, I call you. And what are you doing as a mentor?
So there's education that we have available for all the members online. And then as they're doing their deals or finding them, they sometimes get stuck in the process or don't know which way to go next. And so they'll contact us, and then we just kind of hold their hand through the process and just help them get to the next step.
One of my favorite things that helped me, Brandon, because I had no background, unlike you, right? I had no background in real estate investing, and I loved getting out to the single family road trips, and that's something that was a huge benefit to me and a lot of other members. Just really briefly, maybe take a minute. What is that added thing? That's outside of case study. What is that road trip? What are we doing there?
We actually take you out to a physical property that a member has bought recently. Everyone gets to look at and see, how sometimes scary these properties can look at first, before they've had any work done to them. And we'll teach them how to walk through the property and how to learn how to estimate their repair costs, rehab. And we'll point out certain things to the property, that it will need, some of the larger items, especially.
That was one of our biggest things for education, for learning, for understanding. When I read that number on the sheet that says, $30,000 in repairs to fix up this house, well, now I'm seeing what those repairs look like and why. Well, hey, Brandon, I thank you for coming on. Thank you for talking with us. And you and I will be up on the stage together. And when you're at the case study, listeners, if you come out, talk to Brandon, say hi. Got my second special guest joining me now, David Fisher, and he's going to be up here in Dallas-Fort Worth with me, with Brandon, who we just spoke with, and he's going to MC the case study. Again, that's going to be Thursday, February 15th. But David, just for the listeners' sake, how long you've been investing, what you've been investing in?
You always hear these radio shows at Lifestyles, retire in 5 years or less. I actually screwed up the model. I was able to retire myself in just 2 years. I had no prior real estate experience. I did both single-family and multifamily investing. I started with $70,000, and fast forward, I've been doing this since 2009. I turned it into $11 million. I made about $2 million last year. It is exciting. I can teach you all how to do what I've done. That's the whole goal in life, is to retire people in 5 years or less. And now I get to share that map that Del Walmsley, the founder, shared with me, and I get to share that with you and show you how to do it step by step.
Very good. So you've been at it for a while. And I'm curious, one of the things I like to talk about, David, is our network. How valuable has your investor network been, getting to know other investors and whatnot for you?
It is huge. And one of the most powerful things about case study, it's great. You get to hear the member stories. You get to interact with members and vendors and all that. But here's one of the secrets that people don't know. After case study, myself and a whole bunch of the members go out to eat someplace, and we all network again a second time. So I encourage you, if you're new and never did this before, and you really like, well, let's go behind the stage. What's it really like behind the scenes? Here's the regular members that are all doing deals, all interacting and talking with each other and encouraging each other. And especially if you're new, sit down with me. Multimillionaire. I'll sit down with you. What's your chance of doing that in life? Do that at dinner afterwards. We have a lot of fun and sharing that stories of how we did it, how you can do it as well. That's what I always say to people listening. What's in it for me? Why should I do this? Well, it's regular folks just like you guys listening that have actually done it, and they're willing to show you how they did it. That's the cool thing about case study and networking and meeting others.
Yeah, very good. How long have you been the MC for our case studies?
I've been doing it since I started teaching 2 years after I retired. So in 2009 is when I joined. I started teaching in 2011. So I've been doing it a long time. I love doing it. I love sharing the map. I love always showing what's going on in the economy, the wonderful Biden economy, how I'm still making hundreds of percent returns even under Joe Biden, our wonderful leader.
Now, you're not just going to be in town for Thursday for the case study. You stick around for the weekend. And I used the term a moment ago, life changer. What is a life changer, and what will you be doing in that sense on the weekend?
Exactly. I'm going to take people by the hand, show them each step of the way how to invest in real estate, both single family and multifamily. One of the coolest things I do during that seminar that weekend, if you come, it's one thing me writing numbers on the board, but that's one thing. That's very mathematical. But I go live on the internet and say, hey, what about finding a deal right now, today in class that we can evaluate as a group? So that's what I do. I actually go in class, I find a deal, and my goal is to find one for about $20,000 that we can invest in, like buying it for $20,000 out of pocket, because I know everybody in the room can come up with $20,000 and then turn that $20,000 into $40,000. And that's inspiring to people. So the idea of a life changer is this. We inspire people to change their lives for the better. We teach them how to be financially free, how to buy back their time so they don't have to work that corporate job. Like I said, when I joined, I had $70,000, didn't have a lot of money, but within 2 years, I was making $160,000 off of my, investments in single-family, multifamily, tax-free. In other words, I totally replaced my income and then some, and I got to enjoy life after that. And fast forward, I kept doubling and doubling that, and that's the goal too. So you never have to work again unless you want to.
Yeah, you guys really do change lives. You guys changed my life, my wife's life. We'll talk about that when we're up there on the stage, of course. It's, Del says it's not the money, it's the lifestyle. It's that change of life that we've all experienced. Now, David, I love your excitement. I love your enthusiasm. Be gentle on me. I don't want to be nervous when I'm on stage. I'm used to talking on radio, but boy, getting up there on the stage is something else. I know you do it great, but we'll have some fun. We'll have some fun up there. Last question. Speaking of lifestyle, is your wife back in town? Can I ask you that?
Yes, that's a great question. My wife just climbed Kilimanjaro, and then she went on a safari. 20 days over there in Africa. She just got back actually last night. So, she is living a lifestyle. That's what it's all about. We have think about it. How many people out there can take 20 days off of work or whatever? Well, neither one of us have jobs because we're real estate retired. And then she did, the other year she went to Machu Picchu for like 45 days. A year before that, she walked across Europe, something, I don't know what it's called, or something. 45 days walk across Europe. That's the point of it. When you buy back your time, you live on your schedule, not someone else's. So cool.
Yeah, it was very cool. We homeschool our son. He's 7, and we're just coincidentally doing a chapter on East Africa, Tanzania, Mount Kilimanjaro.
Oh, wow.
I say, hey, check this out. Look where Karen is. He's like, wow, okay. He's connecting dots thanks to you guys, even though we can't quite be there yet. But very cool. Well, hey, David, I don't want to take a lot of your time. Like I said, I know you're very busy. You've got a lot of irons in the fire, so I'm going to let you go. And thank you for coming on. Thank you for sharing your perspective on case study and as well the 2-day that you'll be doing on the following Saturday and Sunday. I look forward to seeing you up here in Dallas again. For the listener, that's Thursday, February 15th. Thanks again, David.
And I'm excited to do that. And one last thing, Andy, you got to give the people this. You got to, because I know you speak both German, you speak Russian. You got to say it's not the money, it's the lifestyle in Russian.
I'm going to work on that. You do that. I will work on that.
Now you better know it. Do that case study.
I am making a note now. All right, very good.
There you
go. Putting me on the spot. All right.
I know.
All right, thanks again.
Take care.
All right, you too. All right, so back to the show. Listen, I wanted to bring these two gentlemen on because they are part of the case study. Brandon will be there as the single-family mentor, as we learned. He and I will be talking back and forth. David is the MC. He doesn't just talk with me and with Brandon. There will be another single-family presenter, probably before my wife and I, that maybe has done one or two deals that'll be up there, somebody that's a little newer or a little bit more experienced. And then we'll have an apartment investor that will get up as well and share their latest investment. And this might be somebody that has syndicated an apartment investment. This may be somebody that just bought an apartment on their own. We call that an independent rental owner. It doesn't matter. Whatever it is that you're looking to do, you're going to hear from somebody that's doing that now, whether at the beginning, the middle, or at the end of the track. Now, again, I want to go back. Where can you see this? How can you attend this event? If you go to the website, LU, stands for Lifestyles Unlimited, lucasestudy.com, you can register there. Now, if you're not in Dallas-Fort Worth, this is at our offices in Irving and Las Colinas. If you're not in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, we also do this virtually. So you can attend live online. It will be live streamed, so you can register at that same website, whether live in person or live online. If you're having any difficulties or have any questions, email me. Send that to askandy@luinc.com. Any other questions you have, happy to answer those as well. I've been getting some great questions here at the start of the year. I can tell everybody's got their thinking caps on. They've got their goals for the year. They're thinking about, well, how do I get this thing done? And you're asking me a lot of questions, and that's great. By the way, if you don't do the case study online through our website, you can also follow us on Facebook. That's quite frequently where I watch it live these days if I'm not out in person, or maybe I want to see what's going on at the Houston case study or in San Antonio or in Austin, if those are broadcast, or any of the other markets. So follow Lifestyles Unlimited on Facebook, because that will be streamed there as well. And if you come out, again in Dallas-Fort Worth, February 15th, if you come out, stop by, say hi. Don't be shy. I'm going to harken back to an earlier segment before we brought Brandon and David on. We talked a little bit about tips and tricks, networking tips, especially if you are shy, if you are introverted. You need to just power up. This thing starts at 6 p.m. By the way, I don't think I mentioned that. It is in the evening, 6 p.m. Central Time. Runs for a couple hours. And if your batteries aren't completely drained at that point, come out afterwards to dinner with us, little area restaurant, like David said, where you can rub elbows. But for you, the introverts, I get that. Go back and listen to the show. You can find this on our website, lifestylesunlimited.com. This will be archived there. But be prepared. Just come with a goal in mind, because I find if you're goal-oriented like I am, and you have that goal, it makes it far easier to overcome that shyness, that introversion that you and I experience. Yeah, a little bit of sweat under the arms, that's okay, that'll go away. That heartbeat, that will slow down. And you'll find yourself in some enjoyable conversation. And you might be surprised who you're speaking with when you get to know them a little bit better. So again, come on, join us. My invitation to you, again, that's Thursday, February 15th, coming up real soon. We'd love to have you. So as we were talking about, the goal here is to create cash flow. Right, I mentioned this at the start of the show. The goal here is to build wealth. But again, the goal is not the money, it's the lifestyle. But in order to build that lifestyle, you do need to get started. And this is hands down the best place to go. Like we heard from Brandon, that's what brought him around. Doing it already, now he's doing it better. And you can do it too. Yeah, thank you for tuning in today. You go have a great day. See you on Thursday.
The information and opinions you hear on the Lifestyles Unlimited Real Estate Investor Radio Show are those of the hosts, guests, and callers. The Lifestyles Unlimited Real Estate Investor Radio Show is for entertainment purposes only. Please consult a professional regarding your personal investment needs. Nothing presented constitutes an endorsement, recommendation, offer, or solicitation to buy or sell any product or security.